It's a beautiful morning. Welcome to Atlantic Television Sports Personality. Ekpo Temple is my name, and it's another beautiful day. This is your home for inspiring stories behind the game. Top personalities are the kind of sort of people we review every week. So today, I will take our spotlight again on an young English prodigy who is taking the world of football by storm. His name is Max Doman. At just 15, he has become the youngest player to feature in a Champions League after his substitute appearance in Arsenal's 3-0 win at Praga over the midweek. He's aged 15 years old and 308 days. The forward broke the record set by Yusufa Mokoko when the German featured for Borussia Dortmund against Zenit at 16 years and 18 days. Dortmund is not only rewriting records at Arsenal, but has etched his name into the history books of the UEFA Champions League. All of this will be yours when we come back. But the man on showcase this morning on Sports Personality is Max Doman, the English Arsenal player. Don't go anywhere.
Is Feyenoord! Feyenoord!
All right, welcome back from that break. If you're just joining us, it's sports personality here on Atlantic Television Network. Rex Sepele joins me as usual on today's edition of the show. Rex, it's a beautiful morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Tempo. Thank you for having me on the show this morning.
It's been a long time. The last time I can't remember the last time we came here to talk about sports personality. I think that was like last month, a period like this last month.
Yeah. I think you traveled to Tokyo.
Yeah, came back, and it's lovely to know that we're back to do this together. And one thing about sports personality is that it gives us the insight to studying the life of certain personalities who have redefined the moment and are trending for the right reasons. Yeah. Okay, and that's why today, I mean, it's not going to be different, but somehow the difference would be in the level of the age. And the young man we're talking about here, Max Doman, who, of course, we're going to look at him and see how far young lads can, take a cue from, especially from the divide that we all come from.
Yeah, sure. A very strong personality, very strong character that we're discussing today. And I hope that our viewers out there enjoy these beautiful moments.
Okay, so let's start with the early his background. He was born on December 31st, 2009 in Chelmsford, Essex, England. So, arguably, he's from England. That's what it implies. He grew up in a football-loving family of die-hard Arsenal supporters, which naturally shaped Max Doman's early passion for the game. Now, Doman began playing at a very young age and first joined the youth setup of Billericay, a small town but respected club known for grooming young talents. His extraordinary flair, balance, and intelligence on the ball quickly caught the attention of Arsenal scouts. In 2015, at just 6 years old, he joined the Arsenal Academy, a developmental ground that has produced stars like Bukayo Saka and Emily Smith-Rowe. It was the beginning of a dream that would soon unfold in remarkable fashion. Lovely insight into how he started. First off, let's look at how significant is family influence. Every day when we come here to talk about personality, to review the lives of personalities here, the first question that comes is his family, his or her family influence, and early exposure in shaping football, like footballers like him, especially knowing fully well how he grew up and small areas, and then getting the opportunity to play for a big name. So let's talk about family influence, and let's talk about how that shaped him altogether.
Yeah. Family influence can play a very crucial role. Knowing fully well that his mom and dad, which is Rob and I think Caroline, they were both coaches. His dad was a coach at Billericay. Yeah, and that was where he started his career. So you can imagine your father being a former coach. And where he started, that means your father has a lot of influence. He knows a lot of people, and he knows how to also guide you, when you're moving on the wrong path. So I think that that also shaped him, also gave him the level of discipline that he's having at the moment, and also making sure that he avoids the media attention. Also, parents also provide such guidance. I think that has really propelled him to where he is today.
When you come from a family where I've seen a lot of families where, as you're growing up, they tell you, see, if you in this family we are Liverpool fans, in this family we are Arsenal fans. Like in my family now, I've chosen everybody who comes from that my family belongs to a certain, So do you think also that also shaped him to also think in that direction? So if he is from an Arsenal family, had Real Madrid, had Manchester United, had other clubs come for him to scout him, you think his parents would have allowed it?
It definitely depends on bargain at that point, and so many other things involved at that point. The level of trust, the level of development, you engage with other people, because it has to do with engagement. But I think that being an Arsenal fan, both parents, and also playing a crucial role, because they have an academy. They work with Billericay. They also work with Essence University. Also, these are people who promote
underage
football players to Arsenal Football Club. Okay. So I think that it was just an easy path for him, because these are people, they already have a direction, they already have a platform, and you as a kid at that time, you're growing with enormous talent, and it's just for them to transition you to where they are at the moment. So I think that really helped him, that really shaped him, and it's also good that when parents are fanning a particular club or are into a particular club, it gives the kids a sense of belonging to that club. You know, at that point, my dad is an Arsenal fan. I have to walk through that Arsenal direction also, so that. But before you know, you start watching Arsenal matches, because definitely as your parents are going around, they carry you along also.
That's true.
They are going to the stadium. You see kids, some parents carry them to the stadium to watch matches. So I think that has also shaped his direction, and also is to propel his love for Arsenal also.
So at that age, joining an academy like Arsenal, I'm just beginning to wonder, you know, let's come back home now and ask yourself, how many of our young kids at the age of 6 are scouted to play for academies or are recruited to academy, even the Riverside Academy, football academy. I don't know, but maybe we need to. I'm just wondering if you get them young at that age. One begin to wonder why we're not going to have, or we're going to be suffering, in underage football, a place where we have reigned supreme, under 17, under 20, thereabout. But now it's becoming very challenging, whereas other clients are doing so well. No surprises why they are also doing so well when it comes to FIFA competitions.
I think that we've lost the balance. Normally in Nigeria, the under 17, under 19, the under 20 is always a competition or a platform where we do very well, where we excel very well. Take from the likes of DME Tellers, may his gentle soul rest in peace. He took the Flying Eagles, and they won massively in that year. So with Chris Santos and the rest of them, Macaulay and the rest of them. So I think that we've lost that balance, we've lost that attitude of trying to harness talents from the grassroots at age 6, age 7, age 9. We should start looking for talents at that level, because it is at that level that you're able to shaping them, you're able to incorporate into the necessary discipline that you want them to have at that time for excellence. So I think that we have lost that balance at this point, and we need to work on that as Nigerians to make sure that we get back to where we are coming from.
Like the case of Max Zoman, grassroots development in Belarus helped him, shaped him, and also contributed to him becoming a talent for the English for the English junior team. Should there be a minimum age requirement for academy product or for raw talent to be recruited to academy, especially here in Nigeria?
Well, most of these scouts they have an age bracket they are looking for. Some of them, like in Europe, most of the Arsenal, the European clubs, they go for players at the age of 9. They try to integrate, but some go from the age of 6, like you can see as in the case of Max Doman. So I think that is a very crucial age, but the most important thing for scouts is players at that age. They look at proficiency, they look at talents, your technical ability with the ball, your dribbling skill, how you're able to shoot at goals and all, at goal points and all that. So I think that will make scouts to really look at such players and pick them that they are fit for purpose. So at that level, let's say from age 6, 7, 8, 9, it's about your technical ability and what you can bring to the table at that point.
Now let's move away from his childhood and let's move straight to how he got connected with Arsenal. No doubt, Arsenal scouts scouted him when he was 6 years old. But that has, little to do with the personality that we're talking about, because from then till now, a lot has really, shaped him. Doman's club career has been nothing short of extraordinary. From 6 years old when he was connected, for Arsenal's academy, and he started playing for Arsenal's under 18 team in September 2003. That means just barely 3 years ago,
Sure.
And then a year later, he became 19. He became September 19 precisely. He made history by scoring for Arsenal's under 19 team in the UEFA Youth League match against Atlanta, becoming the first youngest ever goal scorer in the competition at just 14 years old and 8 months. His rise continued when he became the youngest player in the Premier League before ending a sport in first team training in late 2024. July this year, he made his first team debut in a pre-season friendly against AC Milan in Singapore. Then on, Dorman entered the record books again, making his Premier League debut against Leeds United at 15 years and 235 days, becoming the second youngest player in the league history during that period. He won a penalty in stoppage time that showcased his boldness and technical ability under pressure. 2 months later on, in October 29th, he became Arsenal's youngest ever starter when he lined up in the EFL Cup against Brighton, aged 15 years and 202 days. And so before he finally made another record, but we'll talk about that one later. This is a rapid progression from the young man we saw from 6 when he was scouted, to his playing for Arsenal. And somehow, the more he featured, the more records, he recreates or creates for Arsenal Football Club and himself.
Yes, he's been doing so well, and you can see his progression from the Arsenal youth team to right now. He's now becoming a kind of a cameo starter for Arsenal. I think he has the enormous talent to perform at this level, knowing fully well that he's a player who has character, he's a player who has composure, and he's a player who has a lot of technical abilities.
And then somehow he's progressed, from the youth ranks gradually, and he's of course also shown that when we talk about maturity and mindset, he has it. Let's talk about Mikel Arteta, and the management style has allowed or encouraged the rise of young players, to play for the squad.
Yeah. Mikel Arteta's style, leadership style, is so encompassing. He's so metocratic or melanocratic. Let me use the word. Like he allows young players to learn, to adapt, to evolve. Take for instance on Waneri started not quite long also, and he has been adapting in the team. Look at the likes of Skelly also, who has also been at left back. He has also been adapting. He has integrated him, and he said it in one of his press conference that if a young player sits, he gives the young player the opportunities to perform. So, but I think that he has been able to do that, as we have seen. And it also shows that some of the young players who are also in Arsenal Academy also have a future at the club, because if the likes of Bukayo Saka can rise from the ranks to now becoming a world star, and we've also seen some other similar players, even from OGs. Arsenal system has the platform to always groom young talents. We've seen the likes of Jack Wilshere. We saw the Ripalo. Yes, the Ripalo. We also see
Ramsey and all that.
Cesc Fabregas, who came from La Masia and later moved to Arsenal. And so it's about Arsenal giving youth players the right platform to excel. A
lot of people will tell you that sometimes the reason why they don't give players this opportunity, young lads, because of inexperience and the fact that competition in England is tense. So you give a young player a chance and it's a 50-50 risk, and anything happens and then you lose, you are hosted out. The manager, is feared to be sacked. And so sometimes people feel that if we give these young players opportunity, they may not win these things for us. So don't you think that also produces the risk of introducing young players at their youthful age to play for top games, especially the EFL Cup and other cup competitions in England?
It does, but not every young player is given the opportunity. It is only the ones with enormous talent to play for the team, especially in the Premier League. You give them some cameo appearances to also boost their confidence, to tell them that they can play at a very high level. As you can see in the case of Max Doman, he didn't just start into the field as a starter. He was given a little opportunity. It's when you use the opportunity that you're being given, then you can be given more opportunity. Not when they play you, maybe let's say in an EFL Cup or you're an EFL trophy and you mess up and you expect the coach to try you in a Premier League game that is a bit more intense and more tougher and more. No. Nobody does that. So I think young players should be given an opportunity, the ones with enormous talent. In so doing that, it can also make them grow, boost their confidence, and also, in return, be a good investment for the team.
Another area of note is when talents are spotted, or to graduate from academy to becoming full-time players. I'm wondering, the kind of mindset and emotion that comes with others. I know that not everybody who goes to school end up passing, graduating at the same time. But when you say select, I know there are a lot of criteria too, but the emotion that comes with picking certain players and then leaving others in the same academy.
Yes, because not everybody we pass like you rightly said. Some players are average, some players are of enormous talent. It's everywhere in a team, but football is teamwork. Whether the average, the highly rated, they all work together for the same goals to make sure that they achieve the same purpose, which is winning. So I think that players who are at that level, at that 16, 15, 14, and they have enormous talent, I think there's no big deal maybe like leaving others out and bringing them into the team. It shows that they've done well for themselves, they've worked hard for themselves, and they also need to be appraised, to be rewarded for their effort. I think that is what is playing out in the case of Max Doma, because there are other players in that team, but he was single-handedly picked out because of his performance and hard work and enormous ability to perform at the highest level.
How can Arsenal balance his development with the pressure of the Premier League competition? I will give an example. Liverpool decided to play the EFL Cup or one of the cup competition recently with underage players, and they paid dearly for it. So, how should Arsenal balance, players like this, as young as they are, less maturity, in terms of competition and with the pressure that comes with the Premier League? Arsenal haven't won any of this for a very long time. So when you feature players like this with arguably less experience, how would the balancing be, in your own ratio? How do you think that Arsenal can go about it? I want to feature them, and at what point will they also express themselves and all that?
I think there needs to be a balance in team selections, especially as a coach. Most of the coach I've seen in recent times in England, they take a lot of gambles, like when I mean gambles, overhauling the first team entirely in the EFL Cup or in the FA Cup or in the EFL Trophy, and sometimes they pay dearly for it. I think there needs to be a balance. There needs to be a blend of a mix of the senior players and the junior players, not just overhauling the entire team. If you do so, definitely you have a case where almost all the players on the pitch are inexperienced. They may be good, they may be talented, but the inexperience to outshine opponents at that particular time may not be there. So I think there needs to be a balance. You play the first team players, maybe like 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you also rotate the team also with some youngsters. In doing so, the youngsters can learn easily from the big players. I think it will have a way of creating a balance for the team not to eventually lose.
Let's come back home now and let's look at the system in Africa. Big leagues like Mamelodi, South Africa PSL League, Nigerian Premier Football League, Morocco, and other countries that are developing their football when it comes to club activities. And I asked myself, can we have a system where players like this, can be scouted? Academies, do we even have academies that are functional, across the continent of Africa, where young talent can be churned out and, given the opportunity? Like in Europe, some of these talents in these clubs, they have created what we call the Europa Champions League Youth league, where the players express themselves. So as they're playing every week, they too also have their own competition that keeps them going. per club, just to ensure women also have their own. So I'm just thinking if such can be done or seen or anticipated or expected in Africa.
Of course, it can be done. In Europe, we have the under 17 youth competitions, under 19 youth competition. But in Africa, sorry to say it, we barely have such competitions. Although we know that clubs like Mamelodi Sundowns, the Al Ahly, the Orlando Pirates, they have a very strong youth system. That makes them compete at a very high level. Most of the players in that team, look from their history, they come from the youth system, and it makes them build a kind of a football philosophy that they play this way, so they must adapt to the way they play, and they integrate so fast instead of going for big sign-ons to sign players at a very high level. So I think it's very good for their development. But in Africa, we've not had cases like what we can say there's a league playing African under-17 championship or African under-19 championship, in the continent. We've not seen such cases, and I think it's not good for our sports development. We need to do more to make, I don't know, CAF or whatever authorities need to do more to make sure that not just playing at the national team level, we also need to build our youth system to also compete with the likes of European countries.
All right, of course, we're still looking at Max Doman, the English international and Arsenal football player. We're going on a short break now. When we come back, we'll talk about his international career and many more, his style of play, and of course, how he's the future dream of Max Doman, as well as lessons to learn from the young lad. Don't go anywhere. This is Sports Personality on Atlantic Television Network.
Wants to go through is an understanding.
All right, welcome back from that break. If those joining us, is still sports personality here on Atlantic Television Network. I still have Emmanuel Rexapele with me, and it's time now to talk about Max Doman's international career. A lot of people tell you that if you play club football without international football, Rex, that it's not a complete journey.
Yes. If you play football with international football, yes, it's not indeed the complete journey, because for you to have done so well in your club, you need to be invited to the national team.
And let's look at how that has also shaped Doman's, career at his young age. He's been equally impressive from the statistics and analysis. Last year, he made his debut for both the England under-16 and 17 teams, quickly standing out for his creativity and composure. He also represented England in this year's UEFA Europa under-17 championship, starting all 3 matches and scoring the opening goal in a 4-2 victory over Czech Republic. Later, he debuted for England on the 19 side during a 2-0 win over Ukraine, and soon made history again by becoming the youngest ever goal scorer for England on the 19 team in a 7-0 triumph over Wales, breaking Ryan Sessenor's long-standing records, and hopefully we're thinking that no time soon this man might just be invited. How important is early exposure to international scene and the development of young players like Max Doman?
Well, early exposure to me gives players at that age a lot of confidence, because when you're being exposed too early, and it has a pro and a con, but it gives them lots of confidence in the long run. It exposes them to different kind of competitions that they need to embark on for them to rise to where they are going to. And I think that he has been advancing from the under-17 to the under-19, and that's how good players advance. Check for the likes of Lionel Messi. He was advancing from 17 to 19 before he got to the national team. And players like that, whose progression is always on the rise, you need to closely watch out for them, because they can perform signs and wonders.
Agree. And it looks like England as a country too have also been very modest in terms of planning their youth and age graded system. They look like a model for talent nurturing this time. Don't you think so?
Yeah, they are. To me, they are the best in the world. You cannot talk about good academies all over in the world without calling England. Take from. In fact, they have a youth league,
true,
amateur system,
functional
development system, functional, like that has clubs participating, big clubs. They are on the amateur participating.
Even the likes of League One, yes, Championship, League Two, will be done. Those nations, almost all the clubs in England live like a system that, the most.
So the system is really working for them. In fact, in England, is really a big business when it comes to playing football at that level. So I think that is a model for other countries to emulate, because they've already set the pace for others to follow. And I think that is why they are having a lot of players, although the English media has a way of hyping, but the players are too enormous for England.
That's too much that they cannot even. But can early national team success create overconfidence, or somehow how would that build his mental strength going forward if it gets invited?
Yes, it can. There are pros and there are cons, in this aspect. It can create overconfidence in the sense that when an athlete or a player refuses to improve himself, you just rely on your past glory. That I'm doing well, let me just be at this level. You can be stagnated at that point. It can create a level of overconfidence, and you see that at the end of the day you lose grip of what you can bring to the table. But when a player is just, let me not say overconfident, is confident, it makes him work harder. That I need to continue improving. I need to bring my best to make sure that I also my star is growing and growing, and at the end of the day, you see that player excelling at the highest level.
Well, if you look at young players like the guy from Barca, the young Barca star, that Yami Yama, And then look at a teenager like Max Doman. You begin to ask, if you have a system that allows them go in. And then you also look at the manager. Thomas Tuchel is now the manager of the English national team. Do you think that he wants to win trophy or give more players like Max Doman opportunity to soar high? Look at what Yami Yama is doing. Yes, age difference, no doubt. But the Spanish team has a more formidable system that allows for young players to excel in the national team as compared to the English national team, even if we do. But in Thomas Tuchel's era, where he was employed for a particular reason of getting to win the major trophy, do you think these players can have the opportunity to play and also soar high?
Yeah, of course, they can. I've watched Thomas Tuchel even when he was in Dortmund, Borussia Dortmund. He transitioned, he moved to Chelsea, and he's been a coach that understands the game. He wants to win, of course, but he also understands that giving players the opportunity to
establish themselves.
Like, look at some of the selection in recent times. The English national team is different from the past. He always picks players that are in top form, not picking based on name. Sometimes you watch the English national team, you see Rashford on the bench. You see some players who are even supposed to be called up, they are not called up. So it shows that he knows what he's doing, and there is progression. And I won't be surprised if he picks Max Doman as soon as possible, because as you can see, his form is increasing by the day.
His form is increasing by the day, and I'm just wondering, they don't have enough time in the national team, so how should they be treated when invited? Because sometimes invite them, like in Nigeria, that happens a lot. Invite players, and then some of those players don't get to play. Even the ones from the local league, they don't get to be given opportunity to see how far they can challenge, except during training. So I'm just thinking the different approach or model that can be used in ensuring that these players are integrated into the national team and then they are also utilized.
Well, the model is slow and steady. You integrate them slowly. You don't rush them, because most times when you rush such players, number one, you expose them to injuries. There are some games that are of high physicality, and you know that this game, putting such players will be at risk, for also their mental well-being and their healthy well-being also. So in those kind of games, you don't introduce such a player. You introduce them in games where you know that they'll be confident enough to play, to gain confidence, and by the time they start doing that, their confidence level increases. Then you can also, from time to time, put them on those crucial games to see how far they can perform. So I think it's slow and steady. Tactics is slow and steady. Even if they don't play, you also watch their progression, how far they are going with their club side. Can they be brought in at this point? And in so doing, you see that some of these players at that level are being integrated into the national team.
Well, we'll keep our finger crossed on that one, and let's see how it all plays out. But let's look at his style of play. Every player will always create a niche for himself via his style of play, and that is as a result of the pattern he grew up with. For Thoman, he is technically gifted and versatile player. He can operate as an attacking midfielder, traditional number 10 or winger, depending on the team's formation. His key set includes sharp dribbling, intelligent positioning, and precise passing in tight spaces. He's known for his energy and composure, and he's also trusted with set-piece duties, a rare responsibility for someone at his age. Arsenal youth coach Gustavo Oliveira once described him as the next Kaká, highlighting his calmness and elegance on the ball. Mikel Arteta has also praised his natural confidence, saying for him, everything is natural. He doesn't make a fuse, he just plays. And when your coaches, appreciates your naturalness and what you bring, your creativity, then it looks like you are headed for the right direction.
Yes, of course, he is. I took time to do a profile on him yesterday. I watched most of his videos on YouTube, and this guy is not just a Kaká. To me, he's not even a Kaká. He plays like Messi. He has the Messi flair. In fact, I even seen him excelling more than the Yami Lama. If he's been nurtured very well, he has the ability to drive, to orchestrate the ball from the middle of the park. Yeah. That same thing Messi does, he does that. So he has that ability to create. He has the ability to to play a through ball. He has a very good passing ability, accurate passing ability, true pass ability, and he can also score goals. So I think this is a player who can even excel more than the likes of Yami Lamar. And with that Messi ability, I think he can go far.
So what aspect of his game justifies the comparison? Like you talk about, he said he's going to be more than Kaká, he can even be more than Lamine Yamal, because every player, like you said, is creating a niche for himself. But with the Arsenal style of play, allow him to soar high. Any person will tell you that Barcelona has a system of tiki-taka. That's why it was easier for likes of Messi to explore their talent. Lamine Yamal to also, infuse that talent. Does Arsenal have this type of the level, the environment or the style of play that suits his to give him that edge among his players?
Yes, of course. Arsenal played that kind of tiki-taka style, even though it's been reduced from the time of Arsene Wenger. That was what the model he was using. They play more than, sometimes they play over 300 passes without even scoring
a goal.
Without even scoring the goal. And people will be shouting, Arsenal holding possession, but so it's been their model. But I think it's been reduced with Mikel Arteta. They want to press more on the offensive and try to reduce the passes on the midfield. But it's all right. It's okay for them. But I think that the model is still a perfect model for Max Domer, because this is a player, I've watched him very well. He has that Messi ability to dribble, to create, to pass, and also he's very, very intelligent. On the and on tight spaces, he can also cost half a. Look at the match against Newcastle. What he did, he was to me, he was the man of the match, because the match was a tight one for Arsenal. As soon as he came on, he did a lot of dribbles. In fact, committed a defender, and he got that penalty. That was what Arsenal used to score, and before they came back into that game. So I think he's a special player that can do very well, even more than the likes of Yamal. He just needs to his talent needs to be harnessed properly. Yeah.
Then let's move away from that and let's talk about what he did this week. What the joy of getting to watch a player like that, and he made his UEFA Champions League debut within the week, and that obviously brought him to the attention to also say, let's use him as a sports personality today. And when you are the youngest player to appear in a competition as coveted as the UEFA Champions League, what does that imply?
Well, it shows that you're making history, and the history books is always there to remember you. It's just for you to continue on that path, and continue on that path means hard work, being focused, and not being also and also for also coaches to manage your ability, and also to stay injury free, because from the look of things, I've watched him. He's a player that holds the ball too much, and the England is not a friendly place to be holding the ball. So I think he needs to manage that also, to make sure that he stays free from injuries. If he does that, the sky is his limit.
The last person who had the record was Yusufa Mokoko in 2020, and coming off the bench to replace Leandro Trossard. Doman has shown that, he has that fearlessness and doggedness in him to take on defenders. But let's look away from that. Do you think sometimes, like now he has broken this record, now he's holding it now. 2020 is just barely a few years ago, and now Arsenal have broken it. You think that this thing happens incidentally, or it is well planned by clubs to ensure that they hold these records?
No. I don't think so. I think it's because of the talent. Okay. You cannot bring in a Max Doman at the age 15 if he's not talented enough to play. Because if you bring him in, you know the consequences of bringing a player that is unfit.
For 45 minutes.
Unfit for purpose. You're sure of losing. If not for this, they will say you will suffer loss. Yeah. So I think that it's about talent. It's about what you bring to the table. So it's not about a calculated plan by clubs to break some of these records. No. I think it's about talent. It's what he has to offer at the moment that is making him be in the history books at this point in time.
He's a young fellow, and his achievement among his peers, he's gradually creating a niche for himself, among elite list of footballers. Youngest ever in the Champions League. He leads the record books ahead of Borussia Dortmund's Yusufa Mokoko, was 16 years, 18 days, and then Barcelona Lamine Yamal, 16 years, 68 days in 2023. Nigerian born Celestine Babayaro, who debuted for Anderlecht at 16 years and 86 days in 1994, and Lyon's Ryan Chaki, 16 years, 102 days in 2019. These players represented a new era where age is no barrier to excellence, and of course, we'll get to see. And this is also going to be good enough. You know, I listened to Arne Slot after they lost that game when he feeded those young players, and he said it is not about the selection that he made, but about the, the fact that they lost. But he refused to apologize for using young players. You know, even if in the midst of being kicked out from the competition in Carabao Cup.
Definitely, when a coach loses, sometimes they try to manage the media bashing and all that. So I think understanding PRO is also key. It's also key. He might have known why he lost because he feeded youth team players, but he knows that. So sometimes when you feed those players, there are pros and there are cons. You have to pick the positive, even though you've lost. You know, 1 or 2 players that you can integrate into the side when you have injuries, you know, and you also know players that are unfit for purpose at that youth level. So I think it's also good on both sides for him.
Before we leave, what are the lessons young lads who are watching us right now talk about Max Thoman, especially in the Nigerian scenario, can take from these young lads on our screen there?
To me, I see Max Thoman as a player who has built himself. You know, he's showing consistency, he's showing hard work, he's showing dedication, and he's not even allowing the hype to get to him, and he's just doing things naturally. So I think players should learn from him by being consistent with what they do, being dedicated with what they do, and also avoid the media attention. He's an English player, but sometimes I don't see him go to the press to discuss 1 or 2 things. You know, so I think that he knows where he's going, and being in a club like Arsenal is a club that will also prepare him to the limelight. So I think that for us, for players who are also aspiring to be like him, one of the key things to learn is hard work, dedication, and focus on what you do. I think you surely get there to where he is.
Surely get there. At just 15, he has shown, a massive achievement, what many described as a dream come true, you know, for him. Some players long to get to his level, but at his level, he's already doing so well for himself and his family because of, like you said, purpose, discipline, and passion. These are underlining, you know, things that, has made him who he is today. And hopefully, like I said, we'll get to see the next big star from Max Thoman. Many thanks, Emmanuel, for being part of the conversation here today to bring the best of the best for our Saturday sports personality viewers.
Thank you so much, Ebo. It's always a pleasure being here.
All right, for now, it's done and dusted. I'm sure that we'll be back again next week, Saturday, for more interesting showdown here on Sports Personality. Ekpo Temple is my name. I did the show with Emmanuel Epele. Until we come your way again, always remember that this one game, football without violence. Have a pleasant day, but stay with us on Atlantic Television Network.
Door!